Or not?
Remus, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Can you guys hear me? Us?
Yeah,
Well, me for now.
pretty well. It's fine. It's a small room. Can you hear us?
Well,
Hello?
I can send him the Zoom link.
Hello?
yeah. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. That's always a good start. So, sorry we couldn't coordinate this to be there in person. It's just too many things going on and too many changes. So, but hopefully next year we can do a little better job and we'll be there in person. I have with me John Conlon and Cameron O'Connell, and they're the investment officers who I work with. There's two investment officers because John Conlon will be retiring April 1st. And Cameron's taken over for him. So just for the sake of continuity, we're having both of them on. Usually, kind of when we do these, and I'll say usually, but ultimately this is your meeting, so we'll follow whatever format you'd like and answer whatever questions you have. But usually we kind of, just sort of do an economic market overview, and then we sort of a summary of the portfolio, what's been happening there. We take questions, comments. We sort of ask you sort of what your cash needs are and what changes you have on your end, so we can make any necessary adjustments. And we sort of wrap up the meeting. So that sounds like a workable agenda. We'll get started. If there's something else that you'd like us to include, please let us know.
Remus, this is Shirley. In all of the paperwork, I did not receive a breakdown of the funds.
Can you speak a little louder? You're very faint, please.
Talking about.
I didn't receive a breakdown of the funds. Usually we get that.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it?
Are you the only one that didn't receive, or is it everybody?
Well, I guess I didn't. I didn't get it. I'm talking about the funds in all the different accounts.
Yeah, the spreadsheet, correct.
Okay, I guess I didn't get that.
You didn't get that. And are you the only one, or did
Cortland, did you get it?
Portland
I did.
receive it, or Sue-
I got it. Yep, I received it.
Oh, well,
Should I read that to everyone, or
Can we
No.
print this out, Julie?
you can email that to me. That's okay. Could you email that particular sheet to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just of
no problem.
the different little funds. I just wanted to know what was in each fund and their, the percentages, that's all.
Yeah, do you want me to do that right now during the meeting, or do you want me to do it right after the
Have
meeting?
him, somebody email it to me and I'll go print it.
Uh,
Just have Ramus email it to me. To Julie.
No, Sue's gonna email it to you right now. So we'll print it off and we can talk about it.
okay, never mind. I can get a copy from one of them.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
All right, okay, so John, do you want to just maybe give a economic overview and a little bit about markets, and then we can go into the portfolio?
Sure. Well, for the first 3 quarters of the year, has been story back in 2024. Technology companies by far led the market. You can see that by looking at what sectors perform better than the market. And in each of the first 3 quarters, it was technology, communication, and then there was a third that would change from quarter to quarter. Otherwise, the rest of the sectors under. And excuse me, communication services are just basically tech stock. changed in the fourth quarter and especially in December. Investors, as we got closer and closer to earnings, became concerned about the valuations. And whether these valuations were really justified based on expectations for future growth. I mean, if you looked at the earnings estimates and looked at the multiples based on those earnings estimates, the valuations were quite reasonable. But investors were concerned that perhaps there was some overbuilding going on in regard to AI, some hype that was happening. And as a result, tech was actually down in the month of December. And we've kind of gotten off to a little bit of a bumpy start as far as 2026 is concerned, as far as the market is concerned. Part of it is due to earnings season, and the concerns about the valuation of the capital. Microsoft, for instance, last Thursday, I think it was, sold off substantially. Earnings were very good. The outlook was very good. But what investors were concerned about was Microsoft's planned spending on capital investment. So what's happening is investors are thinking, okay, we understand AI is real, but are you guys building out infrastructure a little too quickly to meet the demand? And as a result, the fear is that, sometime down the road, near term, you're going to wind up with excess capacity. I'm not sure that's the right word when it comes to artificial intelligence. We don't share that concern. However, we can't deny the concerns out there, so our expectations are we're going to probably see some continued bumpy performance, but we think the trend is still upward. The other positive thing is not only in the fourth quarter, but if we look at the month of January, the rest of the market has really stepped up. We had positive performance in the other sectors. So even though technology is lagging, as I said, the other sectors are stepping up. And the reason being is the economy looks relatively healthy. Is it extremely robust? No. But the thing is, we're generating GDP on the order of 2%. Not very exciting, but the thing is, prior to the pandemic, that's exactly what we had. And people were quite happy. We had low inflation, we had pretty good employment, and we had GDP growth on the order of 2.5%. We're somewhat in a similar environment now. Inflation has come down significantly. It's approaching the Fed's target of about 2.5%. The one kind of dark cloud has to do with employment. If you look at the absolute employment numbers, they look pretty good. But the thing is, the trend, at least until recently, has been employment has been softening. The more recent numbers show some stabilizing. So the bottom line is we think the economy is going to continue to do well. We put the odds of a recession up at about 45%. And if we go into a recession, we see it as very mild and very short. What's going to drive it, in our opinion, has to do with things such as the tariffs and the impact that they might have in regard to inflation. And so far, the current inflation numbers are not showing much of an impact. And employment. But as I said, recent figures show the employment numbers have stabilized. But we're pretty optimistic on the economy. And as a result, the market. The economy is what drives the market because it's earnings that drive the market. In terms of interest rates, you have to look at near-term and longer-term rates. You can't look at it in general. Near-term rates, the Fed decided not to lower at their January meeting last week. That wasn't a surprise considering the recent numbers as far as employment was concerned. And the fact that the majority of the members of the Fed, and it is the members as a whole that vote, not just the chairman, still want to work towards that low inflation number of about 2%. They decided not to lower it. Our expectation is they are going to continue to lower rates this year, reaching what we consider a neutral rate of about 2 3/4 by the middle of the year. We're probably one of the few that have that outlook. Most people expect that the Fed will lower maybe 2 times. We're expecting 3 times, 25 basis points. Longer term rates, which have a big impact on the economy. If you look at the 10-year as an example, those rates haven't been coming down. The 10-year did come down, then it came back, and it's kind of stabilized at around 4 1/4. Not a bad rate to be at. The positive there is a lot of the news has come out, especially in the geopolitical area. The 10-year has reacted very well to it. For a while there, it kind of looked like we reached some, and I'll use the word relative calm when it came to news. And then we had a stream of news beginning the very end of December and in January that you would have thought would have disrupted the market, both on-market interest rates and equities, and it didn't. You had the civil unrest in Iran, which is still ongoing. It started at the end of December. You had the adoption of Venezuela President Maduro. The market really shrugged that off. President Trump appeared at Davos, which is an economic forum that's held every year. So you wind up with leaders of countries, you wind up with business leaders, and they're all at this forum. President Trump makes a keynote address. He expressed his desires over Greenland and managed to probably insult every leader at the forum. Not exactly great for international relations, but I guess the market
They're trying to give us
reflects
a
that.
basic overview of, and it's not
I take
that
that in
pertinent
terms of
as a
looking at the
conservative fund as
market, and
this.
that's where my focus is.
But if you guys are okay to speed it along a
In
little bit,
other words,
you
the
okay with
market
that, or
is
do you want to hear this out?
this noise out there.
Okay.
It's not real disruption
Well, exactly, yeah.
to the global economy. In regard to your portfolio, I don't know if you can share your screen or have that report, Remus. Or I can try and share my screen.
I'm not sure they can see it.
Yeah, we can't see it, but I mean, I think an overall, just this is a relatively conservative trust, as it should be, with the dollars that the town has entrusted to you guys. It's performed, pretty consistently over the last few years. So just the highlights, I think would be great.
Okay.
People at this meeting are interested in how well it performed, and if there's anything crazy there. The current geopolitical, environment and the leadership, whether it's in this countries or others, obviously affects the market, but it shouldn't have an incredible effect on a fund like this. And thus, I don't think we have to go into great detail about the general economic environment today in the world. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now easy to do. You do have somewhat of a conservative spent to your portfolio. About 40% of it is in fixed income. About 43% is in equities. Pretty much the remainder is in cash and what we refer to as
We
real
made
assets.
12% last year on it. just so you know.
And for a trust or a nonprofit, that is kind of a conservative bet. Most portfolios that we have in that area are balanced, and that's pretty much what this is. The reason being is you want, I'm sorry, did I say 40%? 50% in fixed income and 43% in equity. The reason being is you want the fixed income to provide some steadiness, but you want the equities because that's what's going to protect you against inflation. Bottom line is the account is up about 13.5% in 2025. And in the last quarter, despite the disruptions I mentioned, it was up 1.5%. Disruptions as far as the jump. About 60% of the portfolio is in what we call a large cap floor. So the large companies make up most of the portfolio. And then you've got exposure to small cap, which is about 7%. And then international, which is probably somewhere around 30%. And small cap and international actually have been very strong performers, probably on average better than our domestic. The reason being is the valuations there are much more attractive. One, and two, those lower near-term rates, those favor small cap stocks because the amount of volume. Then there's the remainder is of fixed income. The cash you have is held in a money market fund, and the money market fund right now is yielding somewhere around 3.5, 3.6%, which is a pretty good risk-free return. That's how the portfolio breaks down. Going forward, what we would expect is perhaps a little more modest return as far as not only the markets, but your portfolio in 2026, mainly because of that volatility that I described, where until people become comfortable with the build-out concerning artificial intelligence, probably bounce around in tech, which makes up the larger sector of the S&P. AI is real, artificial intelligence is real. That's one of the reasons why we think the valuations are real, is because the fact that the applications of artificial intelligence are increasing the margins of the companies employing it. And as a result, that's why we think the earnings are probably pretty reasonable. So bottom line, I don't see anything to be concerned about in regard to the structure of your portfolio. I wouldn't change the mix because, as I said, right now you're fairly conservative when it comes to this type of portfolio. So I'll just leave it there and see if there's any questions.
No, I thank you for that sort of recap. And hey, look, as long as you're getting those 13% a year, this would be the easiest conversation you have, every year. That's outstanding. So keep up the good work.
Well, that's gonna be on Karen's shoulders.
But
Good time to retire.
yeah. But anyway, no, I mean, we understand obviously the risks inherent with investment and what you guys have put together. like you said, is pretty in line with most, public funds or, trusts like this. And, you guys are the experts and we defer to you on, I think the balanced approach obviously is good. And I think we've done a really good job there. At this moment in time, I don't think our needs as the public funds has changed, but hopefully that will, that may change. We're trying as a board to decide on maybe some new, ways to treat the dollars and maybe even disperse some of them more regularly.
Harlan, it's all hard to hear you.
Yeah.
Can you just repeat the last sentence?
I just said, as of today, there's no changes that we would want to make with the way it's structured. But this year, I think there may be some changes as we are going to hopefully start dispersing some of those funds, using some of the interest accrued to do some things in the community. So we certainly will give you plenty of heads up there if we decide to do that.
We appreciate that. Yeah, that's important just so we can know how to raise the cash for you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for these guys?
No, we have,
Sorry, that's the way we're gonna do it.
we have quite a big amount of interest going back to the town this year. Is that because the portfolio did so well this year? Usually it's like 20,000 that's going back to the town, which is wonderful. But
Great.
we don't
That's
usually
nice
see
to
that
hear.
kind of money going back for interest. So I assume it's because we did quite well this year.
Yeah, that's great. That's nice to hear.
Yeah. Okay.
Terrific. That is that's great. We certainly look forward to meeting you guys. Let us know if you're going to be down in this area, and we can, we need a couple weeks to schedule a meeting with the town and get us all together. But we'd love to see you firsthand, and hopefully by then we've got some direction on maybe some other uses of the funds.
That's great. We appreciate the business, and yes, we'll try to do a better job next year coordinating and be there live in person.
Now, I think it was my fault, but that's okay. I apologize. Does anyone have anything else for these guys? All right, I appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, enjoy your day. Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, sorry, that was a little clunky, but awesome.
Highland can go on for quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's what these guys do, and that's great. That's their they got to justify their fees, and they got to, they want an attaboy for doing 13% on a conservative fund like this, which they absolutely should get. So the last few years, this fund has generally returned, over 7%. It's been 13 last, I think it was 11 the year before, and 8 the year before that, and so hey, this thing can make 8%. We should be doing backflips, is the way I feel.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, welcome Bill and Peter and Julie to kickoff meeting for this year. I didn't do the agenda, Amy did with a little help, but she put citizens' comments first. Isn't that
You
usually
have
last?
to, no,
Oh,
open
you
meeting
do?
law, you
Oh,
have to
maybe?
have it
Okay.
somewhere.
Anyone have any comments?
It can be last, but it doesn't, it can be wherever you want, but it has to be on there.
Are there any, do you have to bring the meeting to
You need to
order?
bring the
or-
meeting to order.
Yes, we should have done that before.
You should have done that. You're all good. It's okay.
So
We're already in order. That's why we're recording on Zoom. So
Okay,
minutes will
all
be done for you.
Are there any citizens' comments? And we can do these at the end as well after we go through things. Yes, Mr.
I
Lindsay.
just have a question. I can't comment because I don't have the information. If I wanted to research and find out what the different funds were established for and how the funds could be used,
Uh-huh.
where would I go?
There's a big book in the other room that you can look and actually see the letters from 1830 and the bequests and all of that.
I raised the question on behalf of other people.
Mhm.
Because that is one of the questions that comes up the town is sitting, this is the comment, the town is sitting on all this kind of money.
Yep.
Why are we not using it?
Mhm.
And obviously, there are certain restrictions that will say apply, and it's a hard question to answer if you haven't done your homework.
Correct.
So what I'm looking for is to doing my homework,
Excellent.
so that I could possibly answer a question or ask an intelligent.
Mhm.
So that's my only comment.
Okay, and if you're okay with that, Shirley, I'd like to give my sort of understanding of the trustees of public funds. As a new board member, I did that research and I looked through that book and I
Oh,
read
right.
through all that stuff. And my takeaway from it was that that there are very broad stroke rules around the dollars.
Correct.
But to really oversimplify it and dumb it down, the three of us can do whatever we want because we are the trustees of the public funds. And as long as we decide that that's where the dollars should be spent, we can do it.
That's fine.
And the actual bequests, one could argue, and I've talked to the town legal and whatever, that could very easily be interpreted that if Mr. Lindsay in 1850 gave $1,500 for the poor, for
Right.
example,
Correct.
today that $1,500 is worth $200,000. These numbers aren't real. I'm just
Gotcha.
saying. One could argue that his initial bequest of $2,000 for the poor has probably been satisfied over the years with different distributions that the town has made.
Correct.
And so the interest that has accrued is really in this general fund of the public trustees to do with it as they would like. So I would argue that, and not that we're doing any of this, I'm just saying I would argue that there really are no parameters on the bequests that haven't been satisfied. So if we are generating $9 a year, $46 a year from the Abigail English Fund from 1893,
Yeah.
it's probably been satisfied. We could probably put that $46 in the general public funds and potentially do things with it.
Okay.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
because
Is that?
I
Are
knew
you
there
agree?
must be information someplace.
Mhm.
It's just that if it's specified for a poor fund,
Right.
I think it should stay in a poor fund, not
Right.
be used for something different.
Correct.
And many of the bequests were just sort of given to the town. And let's not forget, 200 years ago, there was no public education. The cemeteries weren't maintained by the town. There was no Social Security and Medicaid and I mean, literally you read some of these things, they're beautifully written, this money is for the poor. It would be a politically correct term for, the indigent and, it's very
Community
interesting,
took
really,
care of
really
the poor.
interesting.
Yeah.
So if we want to kind of bump into number 3, the three of us have been talking this year at our meetings about using the dollars, right? Making it more sort of accessible and educating our community that these dollars are there to be used. And so we came up with some more definitive guardrails on what and how we could use those dollars.
So you're developing a criteria for use of the money.
And today's meeting, hopefully, we are going to review these as a board and hopefully some agreements on them about maybe some bylaws that we can put around this group of trustees, and then some general parameters on how we could disperse funds. We did not have this meeting prior to the publishing of this year's town meeting report. So our review, I know, but so this year's review is still pretty ambiguous. It suggests that we may be doing some things different, but since we haven't voted and approved any of these things, it's still pretty.
Okay.
It's just sort of this is what we're thinking about doing, but hopefully we can get some of these things amended before town meeting and then at town meeting, and potentially even in the newspaper, be able to sort of deliver to the town, hey, this is our new strategy on, continuing to have the fund grow. We haven't had any bequests in the thing for 50 years. You want to give $500 to the town when you die? Like maybe, right? Like that's that's a legitimate, if this fund did wonderful, awesome things for the community.
We also haven't had any donations either.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's, yeah,
yeah.
bequests or donations or, or whatever. So I think there's a desire here to grow that fund. Always keep growing the fund because we are the trustees of it. We don't want it to go away, but there's, 13% of $1 million is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
Probably do some good things with it in this town. So continue to have the fund grow. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah. Like,
So we can dive right into our discussion around these dialogues. I did not print these for you guys as well, and we need 3 copies. I didn't know we'd have anyone here.
I can make a
So
copy.
great.
You want me to make a
Would
copy?
you like a copy of this?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Okay. And,
I'll be right back.
and do one of these too. Do one of those too. And these are things that the 3 of us have discussed and we've sort of, but it hasn't all been in one place on paper. So if this goes famously well, you guys are gonna have nothing that we need to go back and talk about, and we'll approve this, and then it'll be part of the record for how to manage this fund, for these funds. One thing to note, and Julie can add some clarity to this, but the number $923,000 is the principal, obviously, was all the bequests and gifts given to the town. But there was $100 and something thousand given to the town for the Cypress mineral exploration or whatever that they did up on Smokeshare. And back when those dollars were given to the town didn't have a mechanism to invest them other than, the savings account at First Vermont. So that was right about the time that the trustees had entrusted Wilmington Trust and created a trust. So the town decided, hey, why don't we give you guys this $100,000 because it can actually grow there. But since then, through grants and just through the environment, the economic environment, the town actually has money that it invests with the Wilmington Trust in an extremely similar portfolio as this one. So at some point in time, there will be a clawback's not the right word, a transfer of those funds, which belong to the town's general fund, with the interest that was accrued over the time. So this $923,000 number is probably somewhere more like 700,000, 650, something like that. And just like probably many organizations in town, there's going to be a request by the trustees to keep some of those funds into this because we're going to be doing such awesome things with it. Okay, so bylaws. We came up with a mission statement. This board has never, the trustees have never really had a mission statement. And the verbiage, I can just read it. The Chester, Vermont Trustees of Public Funds are committed to responsibly manage, grow, and disperse the public funds entrusted to the trustees to benefit the welfare, education, and cemetery needs of the Chester community. So we wanted to keep in there poor education and cemetery, which was where most of these funds are set up. I mean, keep that language in there. And also wanted to make sure that we kind of always talk about the Chester community because these are Chester funds. Are we, is it 3? We can always amend it, but are we happy with that statement?
Yeah, I read this and I think it's just fine. It's everything that we do.
Yeah, well, just because we're here, we might as well go through it. So,
Yeah.
and then putting some bylaws in place. We have, I just put this sort of one paragraph that comes right from the state statute above the general, conditions around it. And Bill and Peter, in case you haven't read it, the general statute says every town, if they have public funds, it has parameters around, you can't have a board of 6, it has to be 3. Right? You can't, if there's a vacancy, the town manager gets to put someone in place. It's really the logistics around how the board's set, but it doesn't say anything about what you can do with the money, really. It doesn't really, yeah. It's pretty broad.
Because I've had information on this before, and I don't have it now. But
It talks about how you can invest it.
Yeah.
And then they don't want you.
Statutes to
Yeah.
follow.
There are state statutes to follow. However, they're super malleable. I mean, you could put it all in crypto if we wanted to. I mean, you really could, because as long as it has to be professionally managed, has to, there's all pretty broad strokes. So, so this other paragraph, any amendments, action disbursements, or other topics for governing the fund shall be discussed and voted in public forum. That's what we're doing here. Listed on the town boards that we're doing here, live in process. That's actually in the statute that it has to be streamed live in process. So, and 2/3 of the trustees must vote in majority to pass any new resolution, plan of action, or disbursement. Good, we're there. So Sue and I can't go to Vegas because Shirley would say, oh, well, no, we could. That's 2-1.
Could, there's
Oh, wait a
2-1.
minute.
Yeah.
I can't go
I
to
might
Vegas.
cry a lot, though.
Shirley and Sue would say no. Okay. So, so how do we let people know that these dollars are there, so we can make some good decisions about, how to disperse money or grant money? And we thought an easy way to do would be come up with like a grant application. So first of all, we're only a board of 3, we're volunteers. If we are going to have dollars available to the community for the cemetery needs or for welfare, for lack of a better term, or for education, I don't want 65 high school seniors, asking us for $250 for their books. We wouldn't be able to do anything else. So for the first year, what we've decided to put in there is I created a grant application, super simple. But the restrictions around the grant reward is that any Chester organization requesting funds needs to be a nonprofit, needs to be a licensed 501c3 organization. And, we in the past have dispersed dollars for people in the winter for home heating fuel. Well, Family Center deals with, they have an infrastructure to deal with that. They have relationships with all the oil companies. They can do that, right? So they could come to us and say, hey, we give $5,000 worth of oil every single year. We would love the trustees and public funds to give us X amount of dollars, to handle that or whatever. So as long as it's a nonprofit, we think that the requests will be easy for us to manage and discuss and vote upon. The town does not get a vote on whether we do not need to go to the town to disperse funds. It is up to the 3 trustees to whether or not it's something we want to do. If we approve this today or something, the structure like this, we will have to have a conversation with Remus and the guys and just be like, hey, we probably need to be a little more liquid. Maybe some of those money market funds, sits in a checking account that we control, and we can decide.
We got me back on the checking account.
It should be pretty easy to do. We thought we would do 2 grant cycles a year. One in the spring and one in the fall, which would allow, I don't know, see how it goes, right? And see how many requests we get. So we don't get them all at once. Maybe we spread it out over a year, and then we put some parameters around, if you are a nonprofit and you get a grant, you get your request granted, you need to wait 12 months before you can ask again. You can't ask every 6 months. And, like most grant requests and applications and public groups that vote on those things, you don't have to fully grant. If someone could ask for $50,000, you could give them 5. Like it's, I'm looking forward to those discussions and conversations around what people are asking for.
That's not in your application, and I think it should be, that it is $5,000 per request.
Mhm.
Up
Yeah.
to $5,000.
Up to $5,000.
Up to $5,000 per request
And
per year.
and we're having this discussion. I totally agree with you. I don't think we should I think we as the trustees, in our minds and the way that we run it, we should have an idea of how much we want to spend, right? Whether it's a percentage of the income from the previous year, maybe some parameters around, never dipping into principal more than a percentage or 2% or 20 or whatever it is. But we're going to have those conversations this first year. And I don't know if we need to put those in our sort of bylaws, or it certainly doesn't have to be on the grant application. We can get 2 million, people can ask us for $2 million. Doesn't mean we can very nicely write, we're out of funds or whatever. But I do like
But if we stop let's say $20,000 per year total that we are willing to give on the grants. After 5 years, that's $100,000, and that's not replaceable. Okay, so
Well, I mean-
it's not sustainable if you go on and on and on.
If you are making interest on your fund.
You're getting some, but you might not be getting $20,000.
Well, I think that, and that's the.
I'm just throwing it out there that unless there might be some money, it's not sustainable for a long period of time.
All the more reason that we need to grow the fund,
That's right.
right? And that's
Yeah.
what hopefully we can spend some effort
It's great
on
to
this year.
start out with, and you kind of see how it goes.
Mhm.
But I'm just throwing it out there that it's not sustainable after a period of time with nothing coming in. Because once the fund is gone, it's gone.
Okay, so we talked last year, we talked about the housing commission possibly getting money, but the thing is, when you're going, it's not a 501(c)(3).
When you're what?
They're not a 501(c)(3).
The town or maybe we say
So
tax.
that's what I was gonna ask you. So how does the town fit into this?
Right.
Because if the town is not a 501(c)(3), we don't have to be.
Yeah.
We're exempt
Yeah.
as a municipality. And then are we bound by the $5,000 if we're asking for money for the cemetery fund?
I don't think the cemetery fund should be involved in this at all. The cemetery is its own entity, and there's a lot of, when people pass away, they get perpetual care,
Mhm.
which there always has to be money in that cemetery fund for perpetual care for the cemeteries. I don't think it should be involved in the grants at all. I just think.
What do you
that-
mean it shouldn't be involved? You mean
I mean, if
there's cemetery care that needs to be done, it should be outside of the grant. The grant process is more for the community, the cemetery care is more for the town.
Yeah, the cemetery is, should not be, like, the cemetery people should not have to come to us for a grant. If they need funds for the cemetery, and
Right.
it's a reasonable offer, and the money is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
then we should grant it.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be kept to $5,000 per year.
That was just gonna be my
Okay,
question.
so
How does
that's-
the town apply
That's
that?
why I.
Right, so do we even have to write that down anywhere, that the town is treated differently? Because we obviously share so much, we have.
Exactly. As long as there's an understanding that this grant process doesn't apply to the town,
Yeah,
Right.
then I think
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And I
you
think
need
we-
to clearly state that, I think,
Understood.
because you
We
could
can
be.
put that right in the bylaws.
Yeah, that should be
Right.
right.
And I think we had the conversation about the town filling out the grant for us to kind of just have a dry run on
Absolutely.
it.
I don't mind filling out paperwork.
Yeah.
And I don't mind following your grant cycle, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to know by an X date,
Mhm.
I'm completely fine with that.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll follow whatever
Yeah.
rules you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I
did
love
have that
that.
conversation about them filling out the grant for the upcoming expense, but in my mind anyway, I just interpreted that as that was just for us.
Sure.
Kind of dry,
Yeah.
Sure.
run with that
Right.
process.
Yeah, if we
and
want the
what-
501(c)(3) to be the that's the guardrail, right? You have to be an organization with that. I think that's important, at least for the first year, to see kind of what we get. But yes, we'll put some language in there to exempt the town from
Yeah,
that.
from that,
Yep.
And
just because we're
easy.
not
Yep.
opposed. Perfect.
Yep.
But I love this.
The
I
other
think
thing
it's-
that I feel strongly about is that it needs to be for Chester residents only.
Mhm.
A lot of towns have their own funds for the needs of the town itself, the needy or whatever. So it should be that in this, application, that is to be used only for Chester residents. For instance, at Senior Solutions, now they cover a really wide area. They also cover Chester. So if they're requesting funds, it really needs to go specifically to Chester
Mhm.
residents and not be general funded into whatever
Right.
they want
Yeah.
for the grant.
And I think we talked about a lot of those local organizations being able to pull that information.
Yeah,
specifically.
and I think in the application, I wanted to make it super easy first year. The first part is please provide the organization's legal name, address, contact name. Obviously, that's easy. Second is please provide an overview of your organization, including your history, your current offerings, and specific services provided to the Chester community. Please include any relevant organizational collateral. And then third is specific grant requests. Please provide a description of the grant requested. What are the funds going to be used for, and the expected outcome and impact of the grant to the Chester community. So if Senior Solutions, which covers all these different towns, they know how many people are in Chester. They know what the dollars are, that they need to service that community. I don't think they can only I don't think it can be organizations that only deal with Chester. We're small rural towns. I mean, just the Chester Andover Family Center. I mean, they, you know,
Right, but the
few
money-
organizations that do more for people in this town than that one broadly with the food shelf and the, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I would think that's, we'll see what their grant says.
You also ask for an impact statement in
Yeah.
6 months. So that impact statement could be where they show you, we gave you $5,000. Who in Chester did you benefit?
Yeah.
If they benefited somebody in Springfield, well, next year they don't get a grant.
Yeah, I mean, that needs to be seen. I just didn't quite see it in the
Well, it
application enough, you know.
grant awards will be dispersed within 60 days of the end of the grant cycle. Recipients of the grants will be required to provide an impact statement within 6 months of the award detailing how the award was used and its direct impact on the organization.
You could add something in there,
Okay.
Cortland,
About Chester
about
residents.
specific, impact Chester
Yeah,
residents.
direct impact on
Yeah.
on Chester. Okay,
Yeah.
that's easy to do.
Yeah.
Now, am I allowed to amend that and send it to these two and have them okay it, and then it's approved? I mean, we don't
You
have
need to adopt this in an
Mhm.
open meeting.
Yep.
So make your changes,
Mhm.
vote on it as amended.
Yep.
And then make your changes and sign it. That
Perfect.
you could do that outside the meeting. That's fine.
So I make a motion that we approve the bylaws of Chester Republic.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. So that is approved.
Great. It's gonna be so
I suggest we approve the grant application with the addition of, on the first part, adding Chester on the direct impact of the dollars in the community.
And do you want to put in the amount per
And,
request?
and we're gonna say,
Yeah.
we're gonna put a 5K cap on year. Yep, perfect.
Per year.
Yep. Second,
Second.
I agree.
all in favor?
Aye, there you go.
Jump on that
One question I had, Julie, for you, and it was, if you read the first part of this, I would love to not have grant requests being emailed to Dragonfly?
No, have
33
them go.
Can they go to like publicfunds@chester.gov?
So
or-
setting up a Chester.gov, I mean, that costs us money each month. We have to pay for that. Amy has no problem with them going to her as town
Are
clerk.
you sure?
She's positive. Yeah,
It is
yeah.
a town clerk at,
No, it's amy.record at
okay, and her email,
chestervt.gov.
okay.
Amy.record
Yeah, no,
at
I,
chestervt.gov.
yeah.
That is her town clerk email. So they absolutely can go there and then she'll filter them out and put them into
Are you
Chester.
guys okay with that? Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have a conversation offline with Amy, just be like,
Yes.
okay, when these things come in, please, here's where you
Yep.
forward them to all of us, and
Yep.
then, you know,
Yep.
hopefully,
So what was the email again, Amy.record?
Amy.record at chestervt.gov.
So can that be included on that application?
It will be,
as
yeah.
well? Okay.
all the X's are for future real letters. It will now say Amy.record. All right, awesome. Town of Chester request for cemetery funds.
So the cemetery department blower system for leaves and the blowing and the cleaning up the cemetery. So it's time to replace that system. We're having failures. The guys had to do a lot of manual because they had issues with that system. The system is $11,900 is the price he got back during budget season. He's going to shop around. He always tries to see if he can get a better price when we're serious to buy it. So that is the request this year. That's the only request this year. Everything else is fine and status quo. We don't have anything on the horizon immediately for the cemetery. There will be some stuff coming down the road for the Pleasant View Cemetery. Survey work is being done, which you guys funded a couple years ago. That's getting wrapped up to expand that cemetery. There will be some other things coming for that, but it's at least 5 years down the road. So nothing that we anticipate at this point.
So I have a question on your mowers.
Yeah.
Do you replace them as you need them, or are they just on a cycle like?
No, we replace as we need them. We
Okay.
stretch those as long as we can.
That's
In
good.
the blower system, and our guys do as much of the repairs as we can, but it gets to a point where we
Right.
can't.
So high level question.
Yeah.
In theory, or not in theory, the maintenance of the cemeteries is a municipal responsibility.
Correct.
Okay, this is just awesome that this is here and you can tap into it, so you don't have to add that to your budget or
Correct.
whatever. So
Historically,
in your little world as running the town,
Mhm.
you're always like, ooh, but I know I could probably get $10,000 over here for a new blower. I won't even bother putting that in my budget.
If we do, we try to not tap trustee of public funds every year. We typically do if it's equipment, or if it's survey work, like expansion stuff.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we try not to. There was one year we did the trees, but that's a placeholder in the budget that we have every year. So, we try to use the trustee public funds because there is the perpetual care, and that is what this is for. People pay perpetual care funds that goes into this, every time they buy a cemetery plot. So historically, that is what has happened.
So when somebody buys a cemetery plot,
Mhm.
how much does a cemetery plot cost roughly?
I think it's 12 or $1,500 when you add the perpetual care piece in it.
You pay the perpetual care one time?
Perpetual care is paid one time.
Okay, so I want to plot up in Cemetery Road in Smokeshare.
Mhm.
I'm gonna write a check for $1,500.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, and that does not come to public funds.
The perpetual care, does perpetual care come to you guys? I think it does.
Yeah, it does.
I think it does get.
That's the only reason why that it grows a little bit. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why you can get money, because that's, it's
Yeah.
growing in that way. But, there may be times when you can't get it because you need to keep X amount of dollars in that.
Yeah.
Because this is to go on forever. Long after we're gone, the money for the
Yeah.
cemetery
The
has to be there.
perpetual care funds every year gets paid over to you guys.
And what exactly does that cover?
Care of the cemetery. It's very broad.
Very broad.
In
But it's not
in
like
perpetuity.
stones, the cleaning of the stones and all.
No, that doesn't.
It's mowing and.
No, it's just
Oh, just
maintenance and
mowing.
general
Yeah.
maintenance and
Yeah.
care of the cemeteries. And it's a slightly odd relationship. It's like what qualifies as what, right? You have technically two funding sources for the cemetery. But the town pays all the labor, we pay all that stuff. We just, when there's equipment, which is not every year, we try to drag that stuff out as much as we can. This is the blower system. If it's small stuff like chainsaws or the small hand blowers, that goes into the general fund.
So how many
But the
plots do
bigger
you sell
equipment-
every year?
How many what?
I don't remember seeing an income.
It's not a
line.
ton.
I'm
It's
just
not-
curious, like
yeah, yeah,
4 or is it like
Yeah.
10?
Well, it depends. This past year, it was several because, we're out of plots.
Do we advertise?
Do we ever?
Get buried in Chester?
We don't. You can add that to your
I
advertising.
might just add that
piece.
into my marketing.
You
marketing
absolutely
thing.
can.
You are, perpetuity, you can live in Chester.
Absolutely can. And we are going to be looking at cemeteries. Because when we looked at them a little bit last year, we are pretty low compared to other cemeteries in the state. So we are going to look at fees to see if there is a way to raise those fees, raise the perpetual care, see if more money can be made that way too. But we don't want to be out of line either on.
In other words, if we're gonna buy a plot, we need to do it now.
Do
That's
it
what,
now.
sounds like that's what she's saying.
Hey, I got.
Black Friday sale.
I think my parents bought two and they're only using one.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we try to hit it sparingly.
So do you want to request $11,900 or do you want to request up to $12,000 or something?
Up
And if
to
it's only-
$12,000, and then when we buy the equipment and know the price, because it could be less.
Yeah.
That happened with the tractor, it was
Right.
less. So I would say, I'm not gonna ask you for the money until we go to buy it.
Well, one of them was more.
One was a little bit more and then
more,
one
yeah.
was a little bit less.
Yeah.
So let's just, up to $12,000. I'm confident it's not gonna be more than that. It probably will be less.
We can
Okay.
wait till we get the bill too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
wait
it's-
until we
if
buy
it's
it.
$8,416.
Exactly, then that's all we
Yeah.
need. We don't need more than that.
Okay.
When I get the bill.
Okay, I would move to accept the town's request, but we'll still do a little grant request.
Do you want me to
just
fill this
for-
out? Is this what the form is
Doesn't
gonna
have to
be?
be, doesn't have to do it right now, but
Not for the
let me
cemetery.
amend it.
Not for the cemetery. You don't have to fill out a request,
Well,
a grant request for the cemetery.
we just thought it would be nice to have it memorialized somewhere. It won't be treated like a grant request, but it ought to be
Just something in writing.
Something in writing, a formal request or thing.
I'm happy to do that, but is this the one you want me to use?
I'll amend, I gotta amend it, put
So
Amy's
you're gonna
number
send
on
it to
there and
me?
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Do I have a second to vote on whether we?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. let it be known that we're gonna give you guys up to $12,000 for a new blower.
Thank you. We appreciate it. The taxpayers of Chester appreciate it.
Excellent.
Right.
Um,
Maybe a little bit helps, right?
Yeah.
It does, especially right now.
any other business? This is a lot for us. This is a lot for the trustees. I don't think there's been a lot of movement in sort of a direction to actually look at it differently in a long time, so
Kind of a status
don't
quo.
want to overwhelm anybody. But I do think we should, I do think before town meeting, we should do a very simple sort of probably in the paper, like this is what the trustees of public funds is. This is what we are going to be doing, and let people know.
If you have the ability to write that today, it could still make it in the town report.
we got all month. When's the next?
No, the town report goes to
Publish.
print
Oh,
tomorrow.
the town report.
Yeah. That's up to you. I
Yeah.
leave that to
Well,
you.
I kind of talked a little bit about
Did you? Okay.
in the, yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Okay.
But in broad strokes and
Yep.
no commitments. But now we have some commitments of what we're gonna do
So
and
up
change.
to you if that's
I
an
think
avenue you want to
papers,
change.
I think a paper's maybe a little better place, and then I think at town meeting, although I might not be here, I think it would be important for someone to
It won't
be there to
me. I don't
answer
talk
questions.
well.
I'm gonna, what time's town meeting? It's all day. No, it's the night thing, right? Yeah, I'll work on that.
I
But-
usually go for senior solutions, so I'll leave it anywhere if you want to.
Yeah,
Just.
Maybe just a quick, hey, I don't know if you read in the paper, but this is what trustees of public funds are. And, it's amazing when I got my signatures last year to run and I was telling people this is what we're doing. I know you disagree with me, but nobody and no one knew what it was.
Yeah, a lot
you
of
know? And-
newer people to the area absolutely do not. There's a generation that absolutely does. There is a generation that absolutely does not.
And I love Shirley
They
because
don't.
she's like, well, it's in the town report. I was like,
Well,
nobody
they
reads the
don't.
town report.
We always read the town report.
You are 100% right.
We used to print and
I go
publish.
to what I read. in the town.
We have reduced the number of town reports that we publish by, we probably print a third of what we used to.
I'm from the old school.
People don't read them anymore.
Mhm.
They just don't read them anymore. Yeah. And we have a group that we email them to. I mean, there's the generation that just wants everything digital.
Yeah.
And so they get the email down.
Even harder for them to maybe sit down and read it. So
Yeah,
again,
well,
if we want, anything that you're trying to do in a community, whether open up a store or whatever, it's all about just education, right? And marketing and letting people know that, what's there. So, hopefully we can do some of that this year, and especially at town meeting when those, couple hundred people are there in the thing. So, any other business? Is this the best meeting you've ever been to?
I've been to a few.
Okay, there's nothing else. Motion to adjourn? Second, good.
You want me to call Remus and get a check to the town?
For what?
$20,000?
Oh.
Oh, for the.
And that is the interest off of the money from the.
That's right, from all of this.
Yeah,
from all of our-
they break it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That would be great.
Yes. That would be great.
We would like that.
And then I think after we have the first grant cycle, we'll see what the requests are like, then we can set up a checking account and see how much we have to fund it and. et cetera.
So if somebody really got into some interest, I suspect that the Windsor Mineral Funds is that we're also tagged in there for royalties. Although it never got mined, and that may be worth, because Mike Westing owns the land, and it may be worth selling the royalties to Westing.
Is that Cypress Minerals? Is that the same thing? Okay. Okay. So
I would have to pull all that.
I mean,
back
we
out.
had-
Oh, well, that's, I mean, well.
all right, we're just talking now. This isn't part of our meeting. So was I right? Like they came and they said, hey, maybe there's gold up in those hills?
No,
And
There's
say it again?
mineral rights.
They just
Mineral
bought mineral rights.
No, they drilled it. There is a huge, beautiful talc deposit that was big enough up there that Johnson & Johnson was willing to rebuild the roads. They were willing to buy the beams out and put a processing plant at their house, that it's a huge deposit.
Where is it?
You go all the way almost up to the power line. Well, you have to know,
So-
know the whole, years ago when I was.
I know where it is, because I think because
Can you see the
I border
pipes?
the power line.
Okay, so have you seen the pipes that come up out of the ground or the test holes?
Really, on the power line.
No, it's not. They're just to the east of the power line. You have
Okay.
to know, I would
Yeah.
have to take you up
Yeah,
there.
let's go up there.
So
But is it,
when,
but
so it
anyway,
wasn't just the mineral rights that were bought?
They bought the mineral rights, but usually what happens when you buy talc rights and things like this, it's like, hey, we're only gonna give you 200, but for every ton, you're gonna get
yeah,
X.
then you get 50 cents for every ton they take or whatever.
Right.
A royalty.
So we didn't, those royalties were not given, that,
The
the rights
royalties,
to those were not given away when they gave us.
they
the-
probably were given to you.
800
No,
grand.
it probably was in there that the town got royalties, so you didn't pay 100% of the value. That's the way it looks. It's like,
Okay.
we think these are gonna be worth a whole lot, but we're gonna pay you X number of dollars for whatever you take out a ton. And no one ever took anything out.
Are those mineral rights gone? Are they still
Well, the
active?
mineral rights are still there.
So Johnson or whoever, or Cypress, they still own those
They
rights.
still own those mineral rights.
But it's on town land or Mike Westing's
No,
land?
it's on, no, okay, so do you know what school land was and glebe land and Church of England land is?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, in the beginning, they said, let's fund the schools. And they said, okay, this corner up here in Chester would be great. They put the glebe land is up there, which you own. And then just below that, they put town school land. So there's a big block of town school land. On the town school land is the talc vein.
Okay.
And the talc vein, it was right on the surface, and so they drilled it. And for a while, even our zoning regulations said you couldn't build up there because we were all expecting that it was gonna become it was a talc mining, it was a mining district,
Mhm.
because they thought it would all come out of there, and then it didn't ever happen.
How's Mike involved in this?
Because Mike's the landowner, but
No.
Mike doesn't own the mineral rights. And I'm pretty sure that's not reflected at all in the deed that he has.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those
Are
very.
those rights in perpetuity, or are they for 50 years, or are they?
Well, no, the rights are like your glebe land, till the sun rises and the river runs,
Right.
right? Those rights are in perpetuity, right? Right.
Well, anyway, there's no more money coming from Cypress.
haven't
Does
filed
not sound
on
like,
it.
unless they actually go up there and start digging, so.
Right.
But it was $100,000 or whatever put into a
Right.
8% return,
Right.
in 2004 or whatever the thing was. So I mean, it's probably worth $300,000.
Well, if you go in and mine it again, that's the thing. See
No, I
what
meant just
happens.
the fund, just the
Oh,
dollars,
the fund of the dollars. Well, we
minus the
we
interest.
keep
But
taking the interest off the top, but
Mhm.
it should
Yeah,
be,
yeah. It's 249.
yeah, there should be long-term capital gains on that.
49,505. And the select board will be having a conversation at some point about, drawing the funds. They need to establish what they're gonna do with the funds first, before we draw them. We don't wanna just take them and plop them in.
and put them in general funds, yeah.
Oh, gone.
I would think you'd
Gone.
want something specific.
Exactly.
Right.
Like the,
So how are we gonna use that?
like this trustees of public funds grant process. Just leave it in there. We're doing such a great job.
We're keeping it going for you. It's going
Moving forward.
There you go. That's the last of the citizens' comments. Go for it. Now you can adjourn.
I think they already did adjourn.
We already did
That
adjourn.
part
That was all just us. That was all just us just chatting.
It was
That
too
part was
exciting.
super legal, and I shouldn't have the recording before we had that side discussion.
Right, I will read you all those and just send them to you for final, okay?
That's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good meeting.
Sure.